Now, Mewtwo X in S tier. Now, I'm going to explain why, right? And this other little dragon here. He's in S tier. Now, Dragapult is very, 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 very overtuned right now. Hello guys, Unite Climbing, and we're going to be going through a tier list of the current meta in this post-patch, and then we're going to have a look at some of the meta picks that we could be using. I'm going to be good. This is a tier list pretty much for SoloQ, right? It's not for those 5 stacks, it's a solo duo queue, so without wasting any time and spending too much time on each Pokemon, let's get straight into it. Garchomp sits at a solid B tier. I think it's just going to get out. Actually, no, it's A tier. Garchomp is A tier. It's very solid pick. You can take it to the top lane or you can take it to the jungle. It can do very, very good things. Trevenant, I think, is your S tier defender. If I was to pick one defender, it would be Slowbro or it would be Trevenant. And I'm probably going to put 2 of each class into this S tier, and it's absolutely for the defenders, Trevenant or Slowbro. Guys, if you're not on the train of using defenders in the solo queue, you need to jump on. Your win rate is going to go through the roof when you understand how to use these Pokemon. Now, it's very tough here because I am a very, very big fan of I got to put Umbreon up in S tier as well. How do I do this? No, they're all good. Like, they're all such fantastic defenders. They're all fantastic. Umbreon has to be an S tier. Umbreon's the best of them all, right? I have to drop Trevenant. Okay, all right. It's Umbreon and Slowbro, but Trevenant, it could be S tier if he absolutely wanted to, right? Crustle B tier. Crustle's a very, very solid pick. Unfortunately, I think Lucario is still C tier. I think there's just too much crowd control in the game to really allow Lucario to be his true self, and that's unfortunate. Maybe we might get an item that helps enhance Lucario and these other Pokemon that are very, very weak to CC future in the game. Blastoise, I think, is A tier. Very, very solid pick. I'm a big fan of Blastoise. Venusaur is A tier, especially after a level 7 evolution. These 2 Pokemon are incredibly strong. Delphox sits in the B tier. I just think whatever Delphox can do, something else can just do it a little bit better. So that's where I'm going to be slotting in the Delphox. Ninetales sitting in A tier. Pikachu sitting in A tier. Very, very strong picks. Very, very solid. Serena has got a buff. I honestly haven't used it, so I'm going to slot it in C tier. But guys, if you've got some thoughts, please drop a comment and let me know about Serena. I actually haven't used it since it's got its big buff. Espeon is, in my opinion, B tier. It's not quite A tier. Incredibly fun to use. I think it's a very, very strong Pokemon. However, you're going to get outclassed by the other Pokemon if they're good at using them. Now, Mewtwo X in S tier. Now, I'm going to explain why, right? And this other little dragon here. He's in S tier. Now, Dragapult is very, 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 very overtuned right now. Way too overtuned. They were like, oh, cool, let's buff this Pokemon that gets little usage and has a low win rate. They buffed it to the point where it's just an absolute disgrace. It's absolutely disgusting. I'm not enjoying versing Dragapult. But the one Pokemon that can handle Dragapult very well is Mewtwo X with Future Sight. Not that other move. You gotta slinky him in. You grab him, you bring him in. What you need to do with Dragapult is pull it out of position. Now, I thought that you could use a Volt Tackle from Pikachu to pull him out of position. That's not quite what you need to do. In my opinion, if you want to handle Dragapult very, very well, you need to make sure that you're using something that can pull the Pokemon out of position, and there's no one who does that better than a Mewtwo X with a Future Sight. Goodra, B tier. Urshifu, honestly, Urshifu's still A tier. It was S tier, he's now A tier. Got a very, very big nerf, unfortunately, to the Water Bear. It was necessary, but unfortunately that's what happened. Zoroark is an A tier, very, very strong Pokemon. Eldegoss S tier. Eldegoss, no questions, S tier. Hands down the best supporter in the game right now. It's the only ranged supporter that's really usable. I'm still going to put Hooper in this A tier right now. Hooper is not S tier anymore, guys. Hooper is not S tier anymore. Got a huge, huge nerf. Mamoswine, in my opinion, C tier defender. Whatever Mamoswine does, something else can just do it a little bit better. Now, Dragonite. Honestly, keep your eye on Dragonite. Actually, I'm going to put Dragonite in A tier, alright? Keep your eye on this Pokemon. Don't sleep on it, because I think the Hyper Beam moveset is picking up in popularity and doing good things, both competitively, but also in your solo queue games to make sure you're getting the secure on those objectives and securing kills and securing farm. So, very, very good pick. Gardevoir. Gardevoir I'd put in a B tier. It's a very solid pick, but I just don't quite think it's up to what the other Pokemon are able to do. Decidueye, honestly, C tier. No, Decidueye's B tier because it can do some pretty good poke. Yeah, definitely B tier. Chandelure, B tier. Cramorant. Now, Cramorant is up there with Pikachu, and he's up there with Ninetales in terms of being a bottom lane mage. Very, very good pick with the Surf Hurricane. It got quite a good buff. Um, Maybe watch this space for a Cramorant guide. I'm a huge fan of Cramorant. I think the Unite move is like probably his biggest asset, and now that he can win his laning phase a little bit easier and he gets a spell vamp, oh, absolutely amazing pick. Sylveon I'll probably put in a C tier. Mm, Nah, Sylveon's B tier just because it comes online nice and early. Buzzwole, Buzzwole's A tier. Buzzwole's still very, very good Pokemon to use. Still very, very good. Leafeon I put in C tier. Aegislash put in D tier. Greedent put in D tier. And Greninja, even after the buffs, I'd still put him in the C tier. No, probably in the B tier, right? Again, this is for the SoloQ, right? Think of whatever these Pokemon in the C and D tier can do, other Pokemon are able to do a much, much better. Much, much better. Now, Snorlax, relatively to the other defenders, he has to be in C tier. The move set that I'll be using is Heavy Slam Yawn because the CC you can provide is very, very valuable. Block is still probably one of the best moves in the game, but I just think Yawn right now in the current meta, to put someone stuck in one location, right? If you got to Heavy Slam Yawn onto Dragapult, even though it's very, very hard to do, if you did that, he's dead, right? Whereas if you tried to block, he could just use a Phantom Force and cut his move out of the way. Sunfei, I'm going to put him up as an A tier supporter. Very, very strong. Cinderace, C tier. Glaceon. Glaceon's very annoying. Very, very annoying. He'd B tier. Maybe A tier. The only issue I have with Glaceon when you're going solo queue is his lack of secure. He's got very good rip, but you also have to make sure you're going to the jungle with this Pokemon. And I just think you're going to get more value using other Pokemon in jungle, right? For example, Zacian. Zacian, very, very strong, right? These are my two all-arounders up in here. Zacian, Mewtwo X. They're legendary Pokemon. They need to be excluded from rank. They're way too strong. They're way too good. Wigglytuff, C tier, probably even D tier. It's a good tank, but again, it's like it can take damage. So can Trevenant. So can Umbreon. So can Slowbro, right? And the value it provides in terms of CC, like think about this. Would you prefer Sing? Would you prefer Snarl? I'd absolutely prefer Snarl, right? Tyranitar still in C tier just because level 9 evolution sucks. Sableye D tier, and there's no questions about it. Machamp is sitting in a nice... honestly, I think Machamp's a pretty good pick at the moment, up in A tier. I do think Machamp is a very, very good Pokemon early. It's got amazing secure. It's got a lack of mobility until you get to level 5, but that's why you play smart early. You can do very, very good things. Azumarill got a slight nerf. I think Azumarill really bad, personally. I probably wouldn't be using this Pokemon. Zeraora is B tier. I think it's still pretty good. It's a speedster, and what it's able to do is honestly pretty valuable. I'm not sure how the mechanics work if you land on this Pokemon right here, the Dragapult, with your Wild Charge, whether it continues to get him even after he goes invisible with the Phantom Force. I'd like to know. It's worth testing. Maybe someone knows in the comments below. Let me know. It'd be a pretty good answer to Dragapult. Talonflame C tier. I just don't think Talonflame is it. Charizard is a pretty good pick. I'd put him in B tier. He gets a level 7 evolution now. However, the only thing is you need to take this Pokemon to jungle. He absolutely sucks in lane, and whatever he's doing in the jungle, somebody else is going to be able to do it better. Clefable is your other S tier supporter. Clefable's very, 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 very good. Blissey is the only other one in question. I think he belongs in A tier. Masquerada, haven't touched him. He's in the D tier. Mimikyu, I'd slot Mimikyu in C tier. I'm not a big fan of Mimikyu in the first place, and now that he's got a big nerf, very, very big nerf. 50% cooldown increase to play rough. Not as good as he once was. Mew is our other S tier attacker, all right? So we've got two defenders, 2 attackers, 2 all-rounders, 2 supporters. Who are our 2 speedsters who belong in S tier? One of them goes by the name of Dodrio. It's probably Zorak, who's the other one who goes in S tier, if I'm putting 2 in S tier. So those are your top 10 picks, guys, in the S tier Pokemon. You need to be using these in your rank picks, right? So, and these are Pokemon you want to be using well, right? The only ones up in question are the all-arounders. However, you don't necessarily need to use all-arounder ranked. You don't necessarily need to. But if you're using one, Urshifu and Garchomp are pretty good picks. I think Buzzwell's a pretty good pick. I think our Dragonite is pretty solid as well. You've got both versions of the Urshifu. I think both of them kind of belong there. Blaziken with a nerf, I don't think he's as strong, and Sizzle is a similar conversation. Uh, the if you can't get the combos off, if you get mean looked and the enemy team has the poke, you're really not going to be able to do as well as you'd like to. And Teleon, I think, is A tier, very solid pick, but it did get his nerf, so he's not as strong and as dominant as he once was. Mr. Mime, even with the nerfs, I think he's just not cutting it. I think he's still in C tier, but I really hope I'm proven wrong with Mr. Mime. I really like Mr. Mime, so I really hope I'm proven wrong there. Duraludon, I do think Duraludon still sucks. The lack of mobility, the lack of just the lack of anything really with Duraludon. I'm not a huge fan of it. Whatever Duraludon does, like, oh, he can rip damage, he can rip farm. Well, there's something else he can do it better, right? Well, Dragapult can rip farm. Dragapult's also got the mobility, and Dragapult's also got the ability to go behind enemy line. I'm not big on Duraludon. Again, he's actually Pokemon I kind of hope I'm getting proven wrong with. Gengar D tier. Gengar is not the one. Absol D tier. Guys, Absol's not the one. Yes, there are going to be people who can use Gengar and Absol in solo queue and do very, very well. That's because they're very good players. But what I'm saying is, imagine if they picked up Rodrio and Zorak and got equally as good on those Pokemon. Guys, they'd be smashing it. This Hooper Unbound can just sit right next to the Hooper. Mewtwo Y. Mewtwo Y is... He's very good. He's S tier. I'm just going to slot him up there just quietly. Lapras is A tier defender. Very, very good pick. And Scyther is our other one. I think Scyther sits in the B tier. He's very, very high skill cap. Can do very, very good stuff. But again, the only downside with him is he's very, very high skill cap. He's really hard to use, right? So there it is. This is our tier list on the screen here. And I'm going to jump over into Unite API to have a look at some of our meta picks. Now, we're in Unite API here, and as you can see, this data is from the 4th of November. So this is some old data. This is pre-patch data. Keep that in mind. But there are some Pokemon I want to point out here. The highest win rate was Zacian, and this Pokemon actually got buffed, which is really, really frustrating. Mew was dominating really well. He actually got a nerf. Clefable just quietly is doing some very, very good things. S tier. The Inteleon got a nerf. Urshifu got a nerf. Hooper got a nerf. So there's a lot of Pokemon that were obnoxious. You can see Mimikyu with the pick rate and the win rate very high. He got a nerf as well. And again, there's these other Pokemon that are being slept on, right? Eldegoss, Trevenant, Dodrio, Dragonite. These are still very good picks, right? So let's have a look at some of the movesets and what we can use. First one, I'm going to have a look at this Dragonite. Dragonite's not in the S tier, but he's creeping, right? He's creeping. And I do think if they keep nerfing other elements of the meta and keep not touching Dragonite, just quietly, Dragon Dance and Hyper Beam is a very, very good moveset. It's got 51.3 win rate. Guys, don't sleep on this build. It's very, very valuable. The other Pokemon that I'll be having a look at is Eldegoss. Eldegoss, S tier defender, very, very strong. Range defender, I'd be putting range supporter, I'd be putting this with Pollen Puff, and in my opinion, Cotton Guard if you need extra healing, Cotton Spore if you need extra damage on your team. I would only be using Cotton Spore if you've got 2 defenders on your team and you need some extra damage from your supporter. Otherwise, 100% Cotton Guard, provide your shielding for the team and help them win their fights and keep them alive. Who's another pick that I think is doing very, very well in this meta, right? Umbreon. Umbreon is an incredible Pokemon. I still think his win rate has got to be above 50%. It's got to be above 50%. It's not above 50%. Mean Look Wish has the highest pick rate. That's interesting. I go Mean Look Snarls, very good, but Foul Play for solo queue with Snarls, very, very strong as well. Foul Play is just a solid move. I just think it depends on your team composition, but Snarl, guys, is definitely the move to be picking. Not Wish. Wish is a flex pick. Like, you need to... It depends on the enemy team, right? So, understanding that is one thing, but it's also when draft comes out in rank, that's going to be very, very useful for us as well. Another Pokemon who I'm actually quite surprised about is Venusaur, who I think is a very solid pick. I picked Venusaur in A tier. Venusaur in A tier. But have a look at the win rate. It's pathetic. It's way down. I'm not sure what's going on here. This Pokemon got a buff, and the win rate went down. Pokemon got a buff, and then the win rate goes down. Doesn't make any sense. Although the win rate's actually been pretty bad consistently. What happened in this week? God, he got absolutely hammered. Guys, what happened here? Someone let me know in the comments. What happened from, what is that? September to October? Oh no, that's week 10 of 2013. What would that be? Early in the year. What happened to Venusaur? Someone let me know. Holy, that's a big drop. That's noticeable. And he's never recovered. He's never been the same. Goodness me. Goodness me. Alright, Zacian, very solid pick. Zacian, I believe, is bugged as well, so it's really annoying. Don't just go around bug abusing. This moveset is for 55% and they got buffed. It's really frustrating. I don't know why Pokemon Unite does this. They've absolutely nailed the patch minus two things, which is Zacian and then Dragapult. They've overtuned the heck out of this Pokemon. It's extremely strong, right? It's this moveset in particular, Phantom Force and Shadow Ball. You watch this go to like 55 win rate. This is going to be ridiculous, right? And you watch it with an eject button or an X speed. It's going to go through the roof, right? It's going to go through the roof. Maybe I need to do a video on how to counter Dragapult. Maybe that's what I go practice right now. I'm actually going to go practice right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got some value out of this tier list and this meta update. And guys, I'll be using these Pokemon in this S tier, maybe some from the A tier, but anything in B to D, I'm generally going to avoid it until something changes with this game. Guys, hope you enjoyed it, got some value. Leave a like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. YouTube algorithm absolutely froths a like and a comment, so if you're feeling generous, please stop by and do that for me. Have a good day, good luck on the solo queue grind, and see ya in the next one.